My name is Karmen Schaeffer Monigold. My exact name is Kotzebue. My grandparents are the late Gilbert Schaeffer and the late Fanny Williams. My grandparents are the late John and Annie Schaeffer Sr. and the late Russell Williams and May Watson. I'm from Kotzebue, Alaska. I want to talk about the adverse childhood experiences and my story. I got my associate's degree and became a manager of Raven Air. I got my dispatcher's license. I have 4 boys I was raising with my husband, who is a state trooper. And life was going great. I was at the job I wanted to be at. My family was healthy, everyone was happy. And then I hit 35 and my body started falling apart. It started with vocal cord dysfunction, which I thought was anaphylactic shock. From there, it went to a number of chronic illnesses, from chronic pain syndrome to PTSD, anxiety disorder, myofascial pain syndrome. They kept checking me, doing MRIs on all parts of my body, and they weren't finding anything. Everything came back healthy, and healthy became a word that devastated me because it was something that wasn't fixable. It was something that was not tangible, and I started thinking I was freaking crazy. My world view went from broad to where I had to live in a bubble. I couldn't even play a game without my throat closing because I was so stressed out from winning. I just wanted to win, and I would stress out and my throat would close and I'd quit breathing. I started going to therapy because I was so unhealthy mentally that suicide was a real threat to my life. And I knew it couldn't be an option because I have 4 children. I have a husband. I have family. I have people that rely on me. So I started seeing a gentleman in Anchorage for EMDR, and he told me to go to the library and pick out a couple of books. I went to the library. I was mulling around. I was looking at, the self-help section, and I wasn't seeing anything at all that I felt drawn to. And then I walked by one of the tables at Barnes & Noble, and I saw this book. And it wasn't a series of books. It was just on top of these books. And it was called Childhood Disrupted by Nakazawa. And I grabbed it and I read the back, and I was kind of like, this book felt right for whatever reason. And so I took it. I left. I had grabbed another book, and I didn't read it for a month. And I was at camp one day, and I thought, well, I better read this book. My therapist told me to read it. I was blown away. This woman knew me. She wrote this book about my life, about how adverse childhood experiences lead to chronic pain in adulthood. And I cried through the whole book. I read I took the test. I had 10 out of 10 aces. I took the Resiliency, and thankfully I had 16 out of 16, which meant I'm, still somewhat of a functioning adult. And it changed the way that I looked at myself. I was not freaking crazy. I wasn't making this shit up. It was something out of my control. That the hunger I went through as a child had an impact on how I eat now as an adult. The violence that I saw was stored in my body. the sexual abuse that I went through changed how I looked at sex. I mean, how I looked at my body, how I looked at men, my trust in people. And as I went through this book, I was just mind blown. Like, there's hope. There's a way to get better. I'm still searching. It's been 7 years since I first started falling apart. I think it's been about 4 since I read the book. But at least now I have hope. And I know that I'm not crazy. I mean, yeah, I'm certifiable, but I'm not technically making things up. I'm not a hypochondriac. Things are still falling apart. It seems to go one thing after another, but I have hope now that there's other people out there going through the same struggles as me, and I hope to give hope to others that we will heal, we will find a way, and we will prevent other children from becoming me.
What do you hope that the community of Kotzebue can do for the Northwest Arctic region? And what's your role?
I wish that people could read this book. I wish I had money to go out and make everyone read this book, to see that they're not alone in their struggles, they're not alone in their pain, they're not alone in their fight for life. Depression is a real, true problem from being abused as a child, from being bullied, from being hungry, you know. Suicide is a result from things that could be corrected, you know. And when people choose suicide, it's not that they're giving up, it's that they fought so hard for so long that it takes so much courage to stay alive. And for our region, I would hope that with the adverse childhood experiences knowledge, that we as a community can rise together and heal our people and prevent this from happening to our future generations, and to heal the ancestors of our past.
Thank you. Yesterday you talked about silence and how important it is to break that silence. Can you talk about that?
My generation, we were told, maybe not even told actually, it was more just a silent knowing that we had to keep quiet about sexual abuse. We had to keep quiet about physical abuse. You never went to the authorities for any of your abuses, and within families, because you could risk becoming ostracized, or you could take away a provider from their family if that was the abuser. And so we were taught that you just stayed away from that person, you brushed it under the rug, whatever happened to you. And a lot of times they're people that you love deeply, you know, they're fathers, their grandfathers, their uncles, their aunts, you know, I mean, these are people in your family that are your providers. And so if you go against them, you're taking away a provider from a family. And so you're taught to just completely be silent. And to this day, I wouldn't be able to tell who hurt me, because it would ostracize me from my family. And out of respect for my remaining family, I wouldn't be able to do it. You know, I know that the younger generations are a lot more open. We're protecting them more.
How are you different as a mother, you know, with your children about this?
I let them know that if anything would ever happen to them, that they need to come and tell me. You know, I am here for you. I will stand by you. I will defend you. I will believe you. I will be your advocate if anything should ever happen. And my relationship with my boys is completely different. They know that I am their biggest champion and I am their biggest protector. And I think I've succeeded in making sure that my children will never even know 10% of the hell I went through, because I have broken the chain of abuse.
Any last words?
Just that I hope people find the courage to come and help heal themselves, because we can be guided, but it's finding the courage within ourselves to deal with our biggest demons from our childhood to hopefully heal. I'm still struggling, but I hope someday I can come back and say that I've healed, and I want to help other people heal, and I want other people to know that we are going to work together in our communities to help each other with love and compassion.